is K0TR. Please stand by while I set up the repeater for net mode.
PL off.
The Denver Radio Club net will begin at 8:30. This is K0TR. QSD from the Denver Radio Club. Welcome to the Denver Radio Club net, being held on repeater W0TX. This is a meeting held on the air every Sunday evening at about 8:30 p.m. Good evening. My name is Jim. My call sign is Kilo Zero, Tango Oscar Romeo. I'll be your net control station, transmitting you from Littleton, Colorado. If there is any emergency or priority traffic during this net, say break at any pause, and the net will be suspended until the emergency or priority traffic is completed. This net is for Denver Radio Club members and all interested radio amateurs. We're here to share information concerning any ham-related activities. Regular meetings at the Denver Radio Club are held on the third Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. And with the COVID virus restrictions, we have a virtual meeting, and we use Google Meets. The access for our monthly meeting you can get on our website on www.W0TangoXray.org, or if you're on our mailing list, you will actually receive an email with that address on it. And our next meeting will be held on March the 17th. An Elmer session is held at 6 p.m. just prior to our monthly meeting, and this session addresses any amateur radio questions that you might have. So whether you're new to amateur radio or interested in some new application of amateur radio, this is a session where you can get help. And also, every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m., except the third Wednesday when our monthly meeting is held, there's a learning net held on 145.490 megahertz and 448.625 megahertz. This is another area where you can find answers for your amateur radio-related questions. As a general interest club, we provide emergency communication for the Salvation Army, City of Wheat Ridge Police Department, City of Lakewood Police Department, West Metro Fire District, and St. Anthony's West Hospital. We're always looking for members who would like to participate in this support. Please contact our club president if you'd like to help. And our current president is Jerry Vilhauer, W0GV. Jerry's telephone number is 303-467-0223. The Denver Radio Club website address is www.w0TX.org. Again, Jerry's telephone number is 303-467-0223.
W0TX repeater.
The Denver Radio Club also participates in the ARRL Voluntary Examiner Program. Again, with the COVID-19 restrictions, we don't do as frequent of testing as we normally do, but once we can actually get a large area for testing so we can get separation of those taking tests that is required, we'll actually hold tests, and we identify those dates on our website and also pass those on here on this net. If you have additional questions, you can contact our VE team lead, Tom Krzyzewski. His call is KC2CAG, and his number is 720-284-1911. This is the Denver Radio Club Net, W0TX, and this is K0 serving as K0TOR serving as net control. Are there any special announcements or bulletins for the net this evening? If so, please call now.
N0ETV, brief announcement.
N0ETV, Lance, go ahead with your announcement, and I have you checked in.
Yes, yesterday the Mile High VE team ran a test section at the HRO. We did it early in the morning and got everybody out of there before the snow started. We had 9 test takers, and of that we had 4 technician licenses awarded, 3 generals, and 1 extra. Back to net.
Very good, Lance. Appreciate that. And any other special announcements or bulletins for the net, please call now. Before regular check-ins, I'd like to welcome and invite any visiting radio amateurs to check into the Denver Radio Club net tonight. During this net, we disable the requirement for the 100 Hz PO repeater access tone, so you can use either 145.490 megahertz with a minus 600 kilohertz offset, or 448.625 megahertz with a minus 5 megahertz offset. Are they visiting radio amateurs who like to check into the Denver Radio Club net tonight? If so, please call now. All right, next I'd like to welcome and invite any newly licensed or recently upgraded radio amateurs to check in. Please call now. I'll now take regular check-ins in groups, and please let me know if you have traffic when you check in, and I'll get back to you. First, radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin with letters A through E, Alpha through Echo. Please call now.
Kilowatt 0, Delta Papa Romeo, Paul and Aurora.
N0DBS, Dawn in Green Valley Ranch, no traffic.
November 5, Charlie Mike Kilo Greg in Denver, no traffic.
KC2 CAG in Centennial, good evening to all, no traffic.
KB0 CHT Jeff in Lakewood, no traffic.
Alpha Fox 0 Echo, Alex Brownfield.
Kilo Fox, Alpha Fox Quebec, Troy in Denver.
Whiskey Delta 6, Delta Oscar Kilo Rich in Arvada, traffic.
K5 DKS Ken in Arvada.
Net Control, like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-ins. K0 DPR Paul, N0 DPS Don, N5 CMK Craig, KC2 CAG Tom, KB0 CHT Jeff, AF0E Alex, KF0 AFQ Troy, WD6 DOK Rich with traffic, and KA5 DKS Ken. Make one more call for radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin letters A through E, Alpha through Echo. Please call now. And Net Control, like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-in. K1 DBC drone with traffic. Move on down the alphabet. Radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin letters F through J, Foxtrot through Juliet. Please call now.
W0GV Jerry, Westminster.
Kilo 6 Hotel, Juliet Victor, Tom, Arvada, no traffic.
Tango, Oscar, Echo. No traffic.
November 0 Golf Tango Golf, Kurt in Denver.
Alpha 0 Juliet Kilo, AAZ 0 JK, Fred in Arvada, good evening, no traffic.
W0TX Repeater.
And Net Control, like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-ins. W0GV Jerry, K6HJV Tom, and next one was breaking up. The suffix I understood was Kilo Tango, and I didn't get anything else. Could you come back and fill the call sign in and give me your name, please?
Tango, Oscar, Echo, Harsh, Lakewood.
Well, I got more of the call sign, I guess. I got Kilo Echo Zero Tango question mark. And again, I missed the name.
Harsh, and that was November, Zero, Tango, Oscar, Echo. No show.
All right, we got suffix that time, Harvey, and Tango Oscar Echo. Appreciate that. And next I had N0GTG Kurt and AA0JK Fred. Make a second call for radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin letters F through J, Foxtrot through Juliet. Please call now.
KI0ID.
And at control, like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-in. KI0ID, could I get a name, please?
Clay in Aurora.
All right, thank you, Clay. Move on down the alphabet. Radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin letters K through O, Kilo through Oscar. Please call now.
Kilo Zero Lima Papa Romeo Lanier and Inglewood.
Whiskey Zero Lima Foxtrot, Orland and Golden, no traffic, over.
November 9, Kilo India Whiskey Chip in Englewood, no traffic.
Whiskey Zero Mike Delta Kilo, Matt in Denver.
Kilo Bravo Zero Mike Papa Golf, Grover in Aurora.
KD0NRO Reed in Arvada. WG0N Dave in Lakewood, UHF.
And at control, like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-ins. K0LPR Lanier, WW0LF Orland, N9QIW Tip, W0MDK Matt, KB0MPG Grover, KB0NRO Reed, and WG0N Dave. Make second call for radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin letters K through O, Kilo through Oscar. Please call now.
K0 Kilo Papa Sierra, K0 KPS Kevin Lakewood.
Correction, November 9, Kilo India Whiskey, Kilowatt India Whiskey, Chip in Englewood.
And we got the correction, November 9, Kilowatt India Whiskey tip, thank you. And I'd like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-in, K0 KPS Kevin. Make call for radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin letters P through T, Papa through Tango. Please call now.
Whiskey Bravo 2, Sierra Hotel Romeo. Stan in Denver, no traffic.
Kilo Echo 0, Romeo Victor Zulu, John in Lakewood, no traffic.
November 0, Tango Romeo Papa, Jim in Lakewood. Good evening.
Kilo Bravo 9er, Quebec Delta Golf, KB 9er QDG, Carl, Lakewood, no traffic.
Net Control, I'd like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-ins. WB2 SHR Stan, KE0RVZ John, N0TRP Jim, and KB9er QDG Carl. Make one more call for radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin with the letters P through T, Papa through Tango. Please call now. All right, we'll move on down the alphabet. Radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin letters U through Z, uniform through Zulu. Please call now.
Well, I guess nobody else is there. This is Kilo Alpha 0, Victor Bravo Alpha, Jim. And I want to correct the name on N9KIW. It's Chip, Charlie Hotel India Papa. And mine is Curtis, KA0VBA.
W0TX Repeater.
This is Kilo Echo 0, Yankee Kilo Victor, Bill in Lakewood.
And Net Control would like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-ins. KE0VBA Curtis and KE0YKV Bill. Curtis, I didn't understand who I was supposed to change a name for.
Oh, it was N9KIW. His name is Chip, Charlie Hotel India Papa.
Alrighty, so noted. Thank you. And let me open up the entire alphabet. Radio amateur says call suffixes begin letters A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. Please call out.
KB0VQP, Kilo Bravo 0, Victor Quebec Papa, Tim, in Thornton, no traffic.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Delta Papa Foxtrot, Daryl in Aurora, no traffic.
Whiskey 0, Sierra Bravo Sierra, Tony Hudson.
November 0, Echo Yankee Zulu, South Chefco, no traffic.
Kilo Charlie 0, Charlie Zulu, Bob and Thornton.
And Net Control would like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-ins. KB0VQP Tim, KF0DPF Daryl, W0SPS Tony, N0YEZ. Sorry, I missed the name. Can you give me the name again, please?
It's November 0, Echo Yankee Zulu, Jim.
All right, Jim, we corrected that. November 0, Echo Yankee Zulu. And next I had KC0CZ Bob. There'll be a chance for late check-ins a little later in the net. And at this time, I'd like to turn the net over to our club president, Jerry Vilhauer, W0GV. Go ahead, Jerry. The net is yours.
Okay, well, thanks, Jim. Welcome, everybody. Looks like we've got a pretty good crew this evening. Hope everybody's staying warm, staying well, staying in. Not a whole lot of choice today on the staying in, I don't think. I know I've got about a 3-foot drift in front of my front door, so I have to deal with that tomorrow. Our meeting, our regular meeting, which will, of course, be a virtual meeting, will be coming up this coming Wednesday, March 17th. And so we want to, we're going to have Steve, WD8DAS, giving us a presentation on radio frequency noise. So that should be quite interesting. We all suffer with noise issues, so I think we'll probably learn something. So Steve was a broadcast engineer for 30 years, and now he does consulting work in Madison, Wisconsin. So with our technology, we'll have his program Wednesday evening. And don't forget the Elmer station prior to the regular meeting at 6 o'clock. So check in on that. A lot of good questions answered and given. Good questions come up on that. So don't forget that prior to our regular meeting. So I don't think I've got anything else. Just put Wednesday on your calendar, and hope everybody has good luck digging out tomorrow. A lot of us are going to be doing that. So that's all I got. Back to you, Jim. W0GV.
W0GV, this is K0TR. Thank you, Jerry. And let's see, WD6 DOK. Rich, you had some traffic. Will you go ahead with your traffic, please?
Yeah, thank you, Jim. I actually have two questions. One is I was wondering if anybody on the net tonight had any problems getting into the virtual ham expo this past weekend, if they'd paid for their ticket previously. And I'll toss it back to you for now, and then I have one more question. Go ahead.
All righty. Yes, Rich, I certainly had trouble, and I had prepaid mine, but finally figured out what the heck they were looking for as far as a code. And I got into it, but the virtual Hamfest was a disaster. I guess that's the only way I can describe it. The one that was handling the I guess it was the website for the virtual Hamfest was a company called AirMeet, and I don't know what happened there, but I'll tell you, there was a lot of upset people. The one they had back in the fall went so smoothly, I just couldn't believe it. But they had speakers whose voices were breaking up during the presentation, sometimes lost them completely. Some presentations never started. Many of them, the presentation, the slides they had would freeze up during the presentation. And it was, I don't think any of the presentations I listened to went smoothly. And so it was really frustrating. So I guess that anybody else that attended, I think, probably had a similar type of a problem. But it was unfortunately a disaster. And they're off trying to figure out what they're going to do now. They will publish the papers that were given on YouTube, but we haven't heard yet what that address is for the website. But I don't know if anybody else had attended it or not, but that's my 2 cents worth. Back to you, Rich.
W0TX Repeater.
Okay, Jim. Well, it took me quite a bit of time to find the code. I finally did find it and was able to enter that, but it to no avail. I couldn't get in. I emailed them. They never responded back. So from what you're telling me, it sounds like I wasn't alone. Anyway, all right. Well, I'll just wait to see what folds out on it. I really wanted to, see it live, like I'm sure everybody else did. But anyway, we'll leave it at that. That would be, I heard so much good stuff about it last year's that I thought maybe that it would be, it was certainly worthwhile. Anyway, all right. My second question is for possibly an Elmer, if somebody's on frequency. I think Fred is, but possibly does anybody have an ARRL handbook, 2019, Volume 6 in particular? And toss it back to you, Jim.
JK. All righty. I was just looking to see if I did. I don't see that I have one, so trying to look through the bookshelf and see what I had there, so sorry for the delay. But does anyone else have the 2019 handbook that could help Rich out?
N0EYZ, I have one.
Okay, does Fred have one by any chance?
Oh, I'm looking. What's in that handbook that you're questioning?
Okay, it's on page 28.7, and then let the other gentleman, he can look as well. But it shows if I'm understanding this correctly, it shows a procedure for grounding station. And the way I see this, unless I'm missing something, it shows the grounding strap rig to rig or component to component and then down to ground. I was always under the impression, unless ARRL has changed their view on this, but that you each rig is grounded back to a bus, and then the bus is grounded. So I'm just wondering if somebody could clarify that for me. This is Whiskey Delta 6 Delta Oscar Kilo, and I'll toss it back to Net.
Daisy changing?
Well, that's the way I call it. I mean, it goes from rig to rig to rig, and then to there's actually this particular center piece of equipment goes to ground. I don't know if that's appropriate or not.
Yeah, it sounds like you're daisy changing. Okay, I'll dig around and see if I can find see if I've got that manual. AA0JK.
Yeah, okay, I looked and I don't have anything beyond that, so I don't know if it carried through or if it, was something wrong and they deleted it. But I appreciate just some comments on it.
This N0EYZ, yeah, they got everything connected to the amplifier, and then it goes to ground. So with bonding jumpers from everything else. So that doesn't sound too copacetic to me.
This is KE0YKV.
KE0YKV, go ahead.
I'm looking at the figure that they're talking about. Electrically, it shouldn't matter how you do it. However, to get appropriate bonding, one would probably want to connect each instrument or each unit to the ground bus for more safety.
And that's the way I do it. I have everything going with braid to a bus, and then that goes to a ground. But if it all comes out the same on your ohm meter, I guess it doesn't matter.
Right, but I guess if there's a break in any of the braids there, then that piece of equipment or something else down the line is not grounded. I don't know if that would happen. It might not ever happen, but I've always been under the impression that each individual equipment, and that's the way I've done it here, goes to a bus, and then that one cable goes to the ground. And so to me it was a little bit contradictory, and I was just wondering if maybe somebody knows ARRL maybe changed their views on this. So okay, thanks for the comments. I do appreciate it, and toss it back to you, Jim. This is Whiskey Delta 6 Delta Oscar Kilo.
Oh, it's N0EYZ again. In former ones, they had like a piece of copper water pipe going across the back of your desk, and everything was grounded to it, and then it was grounded to a ground rod. So they have changed it. So I don't know what they've done since 2019, but that's the way they used to do it.
Right, and that's different from what I'm seeing in this handbook.
All right, WD6DOK and KE0YKV. This is K02R. Yeah, as I remember, that's the way you did it too. Each piece of equipment went to a ground bus, but that might be because that's the way it used to be done, and that's what I remember. I am not aware of any reason why they would have changed it. So we'll see whether or not Fred comes up with any other opinions. So, all right, appreciate that, Rich. And K1DBC drone, you had traffic. Go ahead.
A comment? Yeah, Daryl, do you know if they're going to reach out to people that paid in advance their tickets and try to do something? I don't know what, but a refund, and I'm not really looking for a refund, but because they had so many problems. WD60, okay.
W0TX Repeater.
Well, I was kind of wanted to see it live, if you will. I mean, I realize that, you know, they've got a 30-day on demand mode right now, and I guess you can get out there. I haven't tried to do that, so I don't know if there's a problem with it. But anyway, if you hear something, maybe, you know, mention on your net on Wednesday night or something, if they're going to do something. So, okay, I'll toss it back to you, Drone. WD60, okay.
K1DBC, this is K02R. And Rich, I don't know if it'll help any, but what they did on the QSO today was they had each speaker record his presentation beforehand, and then that presentation was played, and the speaker then stood by after the presentation to answer questions. So what you will find if you go to the replayed is essentially the same presentation that was done or attempted to be done these last 2 days. I can't remember his name, but the organizer of the event was on and came on when we were trying to get the last paper that I listened to started. We could not get the speaker to even get onto the website, and so they finally abandoned that and put it on Zoom, and so we listened to that one on Zoom. But the organizer had really gotten a lot of heat, as you might expect, and when you have a problem like that, it doesn't buy you anything to beat up on the guy that's organized the whole thing. He'd done his best he could possibly do. He didn't have any anticipation as what was going to happen. If I remember right, I think the website they were using, the server was in Spain, I think, but nonetheless, it apparently did not have enough capability to do what they were attempting to do, and as a result, you had all types of dropouts and such. I didn't hear anything about, in fact, I would say the majority of people said, $10 is $10. I'm not interested in getting my money back. I just want to be able to see the presentations. He promised that by tomorrow, and I guess from what Drone said, it's already been out. I haven't checked since. They will actually identify what that site is to go to YouTube and listen to any of those presentations that you might want to listen to. So they won't be any different, essentially, from what they would be if you listened to them live, because there was not a live presentation. So, except in the case when we went to Zoom, that definitely turned out to be a live presentation, and I think that one as well is going to be put on YouTube. So, for what it's worth, that's where it's at. I'm sure they'll go through and figure out what the heck is going on, because, like I say, there were a lot of very disgruntled and complaining people. Every one of the presentations that I was on had probably half of the comments that they had on there were people that were complaining about this breaking up, that breaking up, and it was a disaster. So, unfortunately, because they had some excellent papers, some of those I've only heard bits and pieces of because of the problems they had, so I'll have to go back and listen to them on YouTube and see what we got. But that's the best I can tell you at this point in time. There might be some other information coming out down the road, but the organizer of it, he was extremely upset because so many people had jumped on him with both feet, and I think that's unfortunate because, when you have that kind of disaster, there's not a heck of a lot you can do on the spur of the moment. So, anyways, we'll see what goes from that. But, all right. I don't see anyone else that had traffic. This is the Denver Radio Club Net, W0TX, and this is K02R Net Control Station. Does anyone have any other comments, information, or business for the net? If so, please call now.
DOK.
WD6DOK, go ahead.
Yeah, Jim, thank you. And I wasn't trying to hammer anybody or anything like this, but I really did want to get on it and see it. And, they had problems. Okay, that's understandable. If you go to it, it's evidently QSO Today, all one word, .vfairs, FAIRS.com. And it looks like that'll be put up for 30 days. So, anyway. But thanks for your comments, and it was, I guess it is what it is. It happened, so be nice to go out there and at least see some of the reports, some of the papers anyway. Okay, toss it back to you, Jim. This is WD60, okay.
Yeah, all we can hope for, Rich, is that they're there, and there were a lot of people saying, "Boy, I hope they're there," and they're not all, breaking up like they did on the actual event. So, I think from what they're saying, that should not be a problem from that standpoint. And I guess the comment was made that they will be available for at least 30 days. So I suspect they're going to be on there for a longer period of time, being that so many people had so much of a problem. So, anyways, we'll have to wait and see. But maybe we can share information next Sunday night on the net, see how we did as far as listening to some of these on YouTube. But yeah, I was looking forward to listen to a number of those papers that really sounded like they'd be good, and the parts that I heard were very good. So all I can say is, let's see what happens. So very good. One other thing I want to pass on, in case that you weren't on last week's net, is that we got a change to the Lakewood siren test date, and it went from May the 12th until May the 26th at 11 a.m. And the reason for that was that the radio shop people said they needed more time to go through and do some service on some of the sirens. So we'll have to just wait and see. There's not too much time between now and then to determine whether, what kind of a activity we'll actually support, whether it's just siren test or whether they're going to have any kind of get-together afterwards or not, because we'll have to see what happens with COVID and such. So all I can say is stay tuned, but you might mark the 26th of May on the calendar just so that you got that available. So, all right. And does anyone else have any other comments, information, or business for the net? Please call out.
JK.
A0JK. Fred, go ahead.
Yes. I got to look in here, and that particular, I've got the individual books here, not one, just one single manual here for 2019. So there might be some variation here. But they made reference to go over to the section on assembling a station, a ham station. And on this particular one, let's see, figure 24.-4 on assembling a station, chapter 24.3, they're showing all the radios and everything going to one common bus bar. One common bus bar.
Okay, thanks, Fred. But again, in volume 6 of the handbook, then it's different. It shows it all linked together. Do you see that?
Yes. I think there must be some differences. Have you got just a single manual? I've got the individual books here, so I'm hoping that these diagrams are the same.
I've got the whole volume, and the one that I'm looking at is volume 6, and it was on 28, I don't know, hang on.
28.7?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, yeah, they've also got all your ham radio equipment here, the equipment themselves shown on mine here going to a common bus bar. And then down below, what is confusing is that it looks like a daisy chain configuration.
That's my question anyway.
I'd go to the common bus bar.
Okay, I just thought maybe they had changed their views on this or something for some reason.
Yeah, definitely throws some confusion here in their diagram here. They kind of contradict here. Okay, hope that helped. A0JK.
Thank you very much. WD6DOK.
Back to net control.
A0JK and WD6DOK is K02R. All right, I think I feel better about the one that ties everything to a bus, because like Rich was saying, if you got the daisy chain and you get a break in that chain, you got some equipment that's sitting there ungrounded, which is not good. So the other way, if you had something come loose, you've got one piece of equipment, not a number of pieces of equipment. And one thing I find, Rich, just looking down through the presentations for the QSO today, is that today, and I didn't one, but they actually had a presentation on lightning and grounding protection, so maybe we can get another point of view there, so we'll wait and see. All right, let me make a one-man call. Any other comments, information, or business for the net before we move on? Please call now. All right, do we have any late check-ins? Please call now.
AV0 UIG, Final G, Edgewater.
KF0UV, Marshall and Glendale.
And at control, I'd like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-ins. KB0 UIG Michael and KF0 UV Marshall. Make one more call. Any other late check-ins? Please call now. All right, I'll now review next weekend's contests, and I don't have any other inputs on Hamfest, so that one there is going to go empty. Let's see, contest coming up this next weekend. First one I have is a BARTG HF RTTY contest, and that begins on March the 20th. At 0200 hours Zulu, goes through March 22nd until 0159 hours Zulu. That's on 80 through 10 meters, and as I mentioned, that's a digital contest. Next, we have the Russian DX contest. That begins on March 20th at 1200 hours Zulu, goes through March 21st until 1200 hours Zulu. That's on 160 through 10 meters, and that's a CW and phone contest. Next, we have the AGCW VHF UHF contest. And that begins on March 20th at 1400 hours Zulu, goes through March 20th until 1800 hours Zulu. And that's on 2 meters and 70 centimeters, and that's a CW contest. Next, we have the Virginia QSO party. That begins on March 20th at 1400 hours Zulu, goes through March 21st until 2359 hours Zulu. Says that's on all bands. That's CW, phone, and digital contest. Next, we have the Phil Hale Sprint. And that begins on March 20th at 2000 hours Zulu, goes through March 20th until 2159 hours Zulu. That's on 160 through 10 meters, and that's a digital contest. Next, we have the UBA Spring Contest, single sideband. That begins on March 21st at 0700 hours Zulu, goes through March 21st until 1100 hours Zulu. That's on 80 meters, and that's a phone contest. And lastly, we have the Run for the Bacon QRP contest. That begins on March 21st at 2300 hours Zulu, goes through March 22nd until 0100 hours Zulu. That's on a 160 through 10 meters, and that's a CW contest. A couple reminders. The High Noon Net, they meet daily at 12 noon. Early check-ins begin at 11:30. They meet on a frequency of 7.240 megahertz, which is on a 40-meter band. And the Salvation Army Saturn Net, they meet at 1500 hours Zulu. That's now 9 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. And they meet Monday through Saturday on a frequency of 14.265 megahertz, which is on the 20-meter band.
W0TX Repeater.
The Denver Radio Club maintains the phone repeaters for use by all radio amateurs. 147.330 megahertz with a positive offset, a 145.490 megahertz with a negative offset, a 224.380 megahertz with a negative offset, a a 449.350 megahertz with a negative offset, a 448.625 megahertz with a negative offset, a 447.825 megahertz with a negative offset, our digital turbo repeater operating on Brandmeister on 446.7875 megahertz with a negative offset, and our C4 FM digital repeater on 449.775 megahertz with a negative offset. The 447.825 megahertz repeater is configured for narrowband FM, and that requires a digital coded squelch of 073. There are two repeaters on 147.330 megahertz. The repeater in Lakewood requires a 100 hertz PL tone, and a second repeater located east near Franktown requires a 131.8 hertz PL tone. We have a second repeater on the same frequency out east to improve coverage along the Front Range and into the canyons. However, having two repeaters on the same frequency with two different propagations, we ask that you monitor the frequency to ensure neither is in use prior to making your call. The 449.350 megahertz repeater provides wide area coverage, and this repeater hosts our Echolink station, W0TX, node number 4140. And the 448.625 megahertz repeater is linked with a 145.490 megahertz repeater. The repeater on 449.775 is now a C4 FM digital only repeater, and each repeater requires a 100 hertz PL tone for activation, except as noted, and each uses standard offsets. And for packet, we have the 145.050 megahertz gateway on 2 meters that is interconnected with the 14.105 megahertz gateway on 20 meters for packet QSO. And we have a 6-meter repeater on 53.09 megahertz with an input on 52.09 megahertz with required 107.2 hertz PL tone. Your support of the Denver Radio Club is greatly appreciated. If you'd like to participate in any of the many club activities, please contact our club president, Jerry Vilhauer, W0GV. I'd like to thank everyone for checking into the Denver Radio Club net tonight. Your support is greatly appreciated. I hope you all have a great week. 7-3. Tonight we had a total of 39 check-ins, and the Denver Radio Club W0TX net is now closed at 9:31. And a repeater is available for regular use. This is K0TR, your net control station. And please stand by a moment while I return the PL tone to the repeater.
PL on.
And this is K0TR. I'll be clear, and good night to all.